So we'll try to keep the story short. We, 21, 19, found out going to be parents. I was doing the typical 21 non-Christian lifestyle, and kind of how we ended up with it. Her Christian background and her mother's one of the most godly women I know. Was like, we're going to get married. Okay, I'll be a dad, I'll be a husband. I got this whole life thing figured out at 21. And so we got married. She was 3 months pregnant at the time. We were only married about 6 months before Matthew showed up. And so that was an awesome blessing in our lives. Premarital counseling was kind of, I think we went like 3 times. It was great. Didn't teach us anything about actually being married. But, so as you can imagine, marriage is hard. You gotta compromise, cook for each other, not just expect to be cooked for. I was very much a husband, and I learned from my mother that, the woman serves the man. Right or wrong, you serve your man. And my wife was not like that. So, after,
Well, I thought that marriage was you get married, you have the baby, the white picket fence of the house shows up, and it just kind of all goes. And if you love each other, then you love each other, and it just works. And if you don't love each other good enough, that's when the problems show up. That was my theory on marriage. So, ongoing, this was 2, 3, 4 years, and he felt that it was getting worse, and I was like, okay, it's the status quo, I'm not happy with it, but I'm in it for the long haul, I don't believe in divorce. So, he got a new job that was traveling.
I got offered a job to go work for a winery, which if you like booze, working for a winery is the place to be. And I love booze. And I got offered an opportunity to move to Oregon, which is where the winery was actually located. And when that opportunity came, I went, you know what, this is my chance of getting out. I'm going to run, and I'm never going to look back. I'm going to get rid of this relationship, and I'm going to be happy in my life. I know where happiness is, and it's not here.
Yeah, I was determined to save the marriage at all costs. I still called. I wanted to see him. I went to counseling by myself, hoping he would join me, praying, trying to control this tragedy of it's not going to happen. I'm going to do whatever I can. It's not happening. I'm not doing it. And it broke my heart to see my family torn apart, but I still held on. Everyone told me I was the most dedicated, separated, on my way to divorce wife they'd ever seen. And this was all in June 2008. This was through Christmas, this whole constant calling, and he would tell me, stop calling me your wife. You're not my wife anymore. I was like, yes, I am. There's not a paper that says I'm not, so I'm not going to give up on you.
I, in the meantime, had the parties and the girlfriend and the bank account and the company car and every reason to never turn around. And like all jobs end. And the company went under, and I found myself back in San Clemente, but not willing to give up my new lifestyle of too many girlfriends and too much booze and having too much fun.
So,
and never seeing my son being the perfect model of what you would call a deadbeat dad. That was my lifestyle.
Yeah, I went from staying at home to having a full-time job, having my son in daycare, and it was a little life change for me as well. So he was working at a bar and would see our son occasionally, and then I'll let you share your one night.
One night I was looking around the room and realized at 26 I was one of the youngest in the room, and everybody I worked with was older than me. They're in their 40s, late 30s. How do you live this lifestyle and be that old? I couldn't understand it, and I realized that I needed to change. I couldn't keep living this lifestyle. I was going to kill myself. I was going to drown myself in a bottle of booze or be shot by somebody. I couldn't keep living this lifestyle. And I think one night I finally we had a fight over Matthew or something, and I just kind of broke down, and I was just like, I need to change my life. I was like, can I just take you on a date and just try and start this whole thing over? We already had a kid together.
We had been divorced for 4 months at this point. I fought it the whole way, but eventually I had to go for it, because in California, you can divorce your wife whether she wants to or not, so I had to go with it. And I surrendered, I given up, and I said, okay, I'm going to stop holding on. I'm going to mourn the loss. I can't love him anymore. I have to move on with my life. And of course, a week later was when he had this epiphany that he wanted to ask me on a date. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. It's been a year. I cannot cry anymore. I can't do this. I can't. And I told him, I said, the only way that, I said no at first, and I said the only way is if he started going to church with me every weekend, went back to our married couple small group. I had been in the married couple small group with our friends the whole time he'd been gone. And I said, and you have to start going to counseling with the counselor I had been seeing. If you can agree to those things, I will go on a date with you. And it took quite a while to even go. He agreed to one at a time, not all of them at once.
Yeah, I wasn't, completely committed to the whole fixing myself first. That still took a little convincing. I knew where I needed to go, but I was slow in getting there, I say.
Finally, in September of 2009, he started going counseling with me.
Full time.
Yeah, all the time. And we, for about 2 months, started working on that. And then in November, he felt he was committed that, okay, the fear of whatever he thought our marriage or our relationship would be, all the problems we had, he thought we could work at it and possibly get to a new place. So he left the bar, quit that job, his only source of income. So basically, I was making any money to support our son, and I was like, I'd rather you not be there and have us have a shot than you be there.
It was better to be broke than to continue in the lifestyle.
To be there, yeah.
He was willing to give up everything.
So from January till May, we went to church every Sunday, small groups, counseling, and let me tell you, I had to forgive him on a daily, if not minute-by-minute basis, for leaving, for cheating on me, for abandoning our son, and sometimes I would close my eyes and have a nightmare. But as I kept doing it, I knew that love and forgiveness go together. And if I was going to be able to love him, I had to forgive him. And it was more for me than it was for him, because he had already asked for it, and I just continually had to do it. So we had to work arguments, praying, tears, get through all the layers and layers and layers of 4, 5, 6 years had piled up from dating to our first marriage, and get to the bottom of it and figure out, okay, what do we want out of this? What do we want to look like? And are we going, to be able to make this work? And then in May, we got engaged, and we got married on July 10th of this year, so we are remarried. And we also were baptized together in the ocean in August, so we have come full circle. And
that was actually cool. For me, this past year had been the culmination of really bringing me where I can look back and see God working in my life at all these different points where he was sometimes forcing my hand, sometimes putting somebody else in front of me that just needed to say that one line, that one thing that would stay with me. Sometimes almost effortless, where it was just a thought to them, but inevitably it always came back to me needing to be right with God. And ever since, when you talk about God blessing your life and when you really feel that presence, since we really started working on a relationship, it was literally just one morning I woke up and I just felt like, not standing taller, but almost like my feet weren't completely touched the ground. And for me, every day since then has been like that. Money goes up and down, work goes up and down. I actually wake up every morning not knowing where I'm going to go to work. And I call my boss and I go, okay, where's my next address? Where am I going to work? And he tells me every day there just somehow seems to be work. I don't really know how I do it. And I know that it's just all in my faith that he will provide for me. And every day I'm able to put food on the table and put gas in the car and get through it. And without my faith, I probably would have turned back to the old, instant gratification kind of lifestyle.
And I would sit there half the time when we were apart and say, what is the purpose? Like, God hates divorce. And I knew I was justified in it because in Matthew 19 it says only if adultery and not. And I was like, okay, I know I'm off the hook. I can do this. I said, what is the purpose of this? My son is 3. He's going to grow up without 2 parents. But now looking back, if that's all we had to go through to have a marriage now that I never, ever would have dreamed of, it's totally worth it.
Yeah, now we can talk, and by putting Christ in the center of our relationship, we both can, what's the word I'm trying to look for? When one of us is faulting, we have that partner that I'm like, okay, I need your help here. And then
He
I
grabs
can
his
talk to
hand
her.
and he grabs mine, and we do like
She can do the
a
same
three-way, lifeline, rather than before. If I fell, I would lean solely on him. We weren't going this way, we're only going this way, and
Because when you're standing alone,
you can't.
it's easy
You
to
can
fall.
fight and you'll never win, but at least now with this, you can fight and know it's going to